Hey guys, this is Craig, and I'm going to be doing vlog number 10. And I used to do the hardcore metal detecting radio podcast, and so I started thinking I might do like a vlog, on my YouTube channel, kind of like that. And today I'm going to talk about being followed as one of the topics, but in the 19 I started in 86, and I mostly coin hunted the first 4 years. And this friend of mine I started hunting with, he uh, so we had to go down south. So we always, from then on, most of the times I metal detected, I went down 95 toward Fredericksburg and Route 1. And we started first in Stafford County, and we used to go out with 3 carloads of guys a lot of times. And in the early days, a lot of these sites, had a lot of stuff, and some of them hadn't even been hit before. And as it got along, I decided I wanted to get more colonial stuff, and so I realized I had to go. I had to start going up and down along the Potomac, and I heard about house sites that were like in Dumfries and Woodbridge and Quantico and places like that, and pretty much anything along old all these creeks had colonial house sites, that dated back 17. Some of them even probably went to the late 1600s, but I would say a lot of them were around 1720s and stuff like that. And so some of the sites, I'd done a lot of them. You don't know exactly where these sites are, and if you, back in the old days, it's probably most of it's gone now in Stafford County, and uh, just miles of woods. I mean, I got terribly lost 3 times. And, and I started carrying a compass. I started, looking to see where the sun was and things like that, to make sure I, would be able to get out of the woods and, get back to my car. But I, started, I started going further and further back, and I had this one guy that, we were hunting for years, and he started going. We'd find a good spot, and he'd go back during the week and clean it out, and I'd want to go back to that spot, and then he'd go, "Oh, I was there this week," and so this one day, I just, he pulled a fast one on me, and then got mad because I was digging New York buttons up, and he couldn't find one, and just had a fit. I dug 5 or 6 in a row. He told me to go up this one side that he'd already been, and I was on the other side, and so he said he'll go over there. So I found 5 in a row. So then he says he jumps in front of me. So I went over where he was, and I dug another one, and he had a fit. And I said, well, I'm going to walk back to the car. And so he goes, "Oh man, what's going on?" And I said, I don't think I want to hunt with you anymore, and I'm just tired of this. So I'm going to start hunting by myself. And he was very upset. He even had his wife call me, and he's still mad about it all these years later. But I just had it, and I said, I'm going to hunt by myself from now on. And so when I was hunting near the Wright House in the Fort Texas camp, there was like, just miles and miles of woods. I mean, you could walk 5 miles in every different direction. And I didn't know, I knew where a couple sites I knew where the Wright House was, and I didn't know where the Fort Texas was yet, but I knew I was close because I'd found infield bullets. And so I started going back further and further in the woods, and I started finding stuff on these ridges, and it was mostly tomback buttons and 69 or big, even 75 caliber round balls, and I even found a French bullet one time called a Chevalier. I think I found maybe 2 or 3 of those within about a 10-mile area up that way, and they're from the Revolutionary War. But anyway, I started going back further and further, and I was at this club, and I was showing what I was finding, and people getting upset, and I'd found some, I'd found a Real, and a lot of nice flat buttons and stuff like that. I think I'd found a couple of King Georges, copper coins, and a few large cents, and so one day I'm going through the woods, and I happened to turn around. I was kind of like looking. I was kind of down in this low area, and I was kind of looking around the hills. I'd come down a hill, and I decided to look around and see if I see anything. All of a sudden, I see this little movement, and it's this guy's behind a tree, and I recognized the guy, and I acted like I didn't. So I said, "Man, that guy's that weasel." That the guy was an engineer and had a degree and stuff, and worked on submarines, but he was a snake, and he was, he thought he was king of metal detecting. But so I said, "I'll fix this guy." So I started walking down the peninsula, and I'd already been down there, and I'd found a few things, but it wasn't much down there, and until you got all the way to the end. So anyway, I led him, down a couple miles down the peninsula, and then there was I knew where there was this bend in the thing, so I went up, I kind of went off to the left and up this hill, and hid and watched, and he comes walking on by, and then I let him keep on going for a while, and then I just took off, went back up to where I wanted to hunt, and supposedly he got so lost, he was almost crying, and so I said, that's, it's really funny, these guys, I'd spend a lot of time looking for this stuff, and then these guys want to just, jump on my spots. And I've taken, friends of mine a lot of times to some of my best spots, but, I trust them, and, there's some people that you just can't trust. They get, they get this greedy, they want to. There's a lot of guys that think they're the greatest metal detectors in the world, and I don't really care. I know I'm pretty good because I've been doing it for 37 years. All right, guys, what do you think? This is vlog number 10.